Alright, I started late, so I may as well begin early. How's it going? Thank you very much for your patience with the technical issues. Spectrum is up to its usual bullshit again. So, yeah. If you have any diminished quality or anything with the image or audio or whatever it is, ain't my fault. It's Spectrum, who decided that right now I should only be able to get by with half of my usual shitty upload speed. So as opposed to 6,000 kilobytes a second, I'm now streaming at 3,000 kilobytes per second. But we'll see how it goes anyway. How's it going? Yeah, sorry about being late. Who we got? Fairy slash how's it going? Tony Poost. Shrug away. Rowan, hello, how's it going? Has you very nice bread that you made the other day. At least you get to stare at the beautiful thumbnail. Yes, it is a triumph. Every frame a painting. That's the thing, like, whenever I edit a video, it's rare to find a moment where I'm not making an awful face. Don't know what it is. It's just whenever I'm in, like, the middle of talking, if you pause it, like, I'm just like... something like that. Yeah. So I just happened to stumble upon magic the other day. My dear wife, Salari, who just had a wonderful accomplishment in finishing a presentation. You had a breakfast bath, birdie. It means I had Pop-Tarts and caffeine while I watched Soul Eater in the bathtub. Living the good life. How are you doing? One sec. Wait, no, fuck. I need to change my Stream Deck controls. Because I need to clear my throat. It's all going well. Okay. Annie made it. You made it. How's it going? Park Raj, yes, lucky for you. I was late, but you don't have to apologize for being late. It's perfectly fine. We've all got stuff to do. I mean, so long as the stream looks alright, that's okay. You know, I think it's bearable. It's not like there's anything high fidelity going on or anything. Tremolo, heard that you're sick. How's it going? Nice to have you here regardless. It's been a while since I had a Pop-Tart. Can't remember what it was. That's the funny thing with Pop-Tarts. Like, it's always one of those things where I always think, like, you know, I'd really like a Pop-Tart. And then I have one and it's like, it was alright. You know. I don't know. I'm not even sure what my favorite type is. I like the ones with icing on the top. Like, how many flavors of Pop-Tarts are there now? There's gotta be like hundreds. Didn't, Jerry Seinfeld, he did a movie about Pop-Tarts recently, did it? And it was, horribly received. Everyone said it was terrible. Which, I guess I'm not too surprised about. Jerry Seinfeld sucks these days. I think it was in my last video I put a little joke about him there, but yeah, Seinfeld as a sitcom holds up well, apart from a few things which haven't aged particularly well, just like any sitcom from the 90s. But you know, it's still a funny show. But Jerry Seinfeld these days, I was talking to some people the other day about him and how you get like middle-aged comedians who complain about audiences that don't find them funny anymore because, you know, they're too PC or they're too woke. And Jerry Seinfeld, who has extremely clean comedy, is complaining that people find him too edgy these days, which is not true at all. But yeah, he just like says, you know, oh, the younger audiences don't find me funny because... Sorry, I gotta do a Seinfeld voice. Younger audience don't find me funny because I'm too edgy. I'm 70 years old. I'm a billionaire. Why don't people find me funny? He should have retired. He should just retire, yeah. You know, just... You're a billionaire, Jerry. Just live off that. Perfectly fine. was complaining because his girlfriends are too young to understand his jokes, you know? You can't go trawling around high schools anymore looking for 17-year-olds to date. Poor Jerry. Kramer, help! My girlfriend wants me to go to senior prom with her. Oh, Jerry. What are you gonna do, Jerry? Oh yeah, I've seen that bit, Rowan. What's up with girlfriends? They're always asking about math homework. I haven't done maths in 20 years. I'm 38, you're 17. Oh, Jerry, that's not what the senior and senior prom means. I know, I'm a senior citizen. Why am I going to a prom? You like the s'mores Pop-Tarts? I don't think I've ever tried those. I did try these nice small snacks the other day. I got some yesterday. It's like a marshmallow with graham cracker in the middle, wrapped in chocolate sprinkles. Those are quite nice. Finished the first draft of my video Friday. Good luck with it. Keep at it. I want to try as many Pop-Tarts as I can find. Sounds like fun, but I feel like after a bit I'd end up just like, I don't know, I feel like I get so tired of Pop-Tarts. Like, chocolate is something that I absolutely love, but too much of it, yeah, still feels like I'm going too far, too much of a good thing and all that stuff. But you know, I wouldn't mind testing more Pop-Tarts. The cinnamon ones are quite nice. Those don't have icing on, but they are quite nice. I was making Seinfeld jokes about centrifuges earlier. I can't even remember how I came about that joke, but yes, I was. Oh wait, no, I was talking about presentation. Because my wife heard someone else's presentation beforehand and said that they threw in a few jokes in theirs. And they were doing like relatable comedy that comedians like Seinfeld do, and I joke saying like, you know, what's the deal with centrifuges? You put liquid in and that liquid throws up some more liquid? How does that happen? That's not science, that's magic. What's the deal with test tubes? Who knows what's in there? Julia Louis-Dreyfus basically was one step short of saying it's a skill issue. Yes, I saw that interview, and yeah, she was right in saying so. I'm glad she didn't defend him. Because that's the thing, yeah, when it comes to comedians, like aging comedians, usually age 50 or over, and I go over this a bit in my next video, but yeah, you get comedians like middle age upwards, who complain that audiences don't get them anymore, or they become too woke or too PC and all that kind of crap. And yeah, it's not that they're becoming more PC, it's just that you're not good anymore. And you can't evolve. Like, comedy is an ever-evolving thing. Like, you know, comedy in the 60s is something that doesn't go down well today, and not because it's not PC or anything like that, it's just it's a different style. And if you can't change with the times, then you probably shouldn't be doing comedy. It's as simple as that. Just like with many other arts, evolve or die, you know, it's really that simple. What's up with girlfriends' parents always being your age? I hate meeting the parents. Never know what to say to them. Remember the 70s? I think there was a bit on Sam Cedar's show where Seinfeld goes on about gymnasts and their rear ends. What does he say there? Because the thing that really got him started on his whole, like, you know, oh, everything's too PC tirade, was he went on a talk show. I can't remember which one. It was a late night talk show. But like, he was saying how he did this joke at a show where Of course, because he's very insightful, talking about people who are on their phones all the time. Really cutting edge jokes. But he said, like, you see people on their phones all the time, and they're there just looking at the phones, and he phrased it like swiping up over and over again like a gay French prince, which, you know, just like, which, you know, isn't offensive. It's just lame, really. I mean, I'm not offended by it. I'm sure some people might be, but at the same time, like, I'm pretty sure, like, most, you know, queer people will listen to that and be like, you know, haha, you know, they don't get offended by it. But on this talk show, it was talking about how he just got dead air when he told the joke, and like, no one told him that it was offensive or anything. No one booed him. He just didn't get a laugh. But he took that as the audience saying to him that this is offensive. And ever since then, he's just gone on this like ongoing crusade to fight against PC audiences. Like, you know, that comedy doesn't work that way. You don't blame the audience. If you're not funny, the audience is what tells you. If you can't accept what the audience is telling you, get off the stage. The irrelevant comedian to unhinged bigger pipeline. Yeah, it's a very real thing. It's like the hit streaming show to Disney pipeline. You appear on a hit streaming show on Netflix or Hulu, next thing you know, Disney's poking you to be the next Marvel superhero or Star Wars thing, you know. It's a very real thing. In fact, who is it? There's a Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four TV show, I think, coming up. Let's see. Yeah, so Fantastic Four. Oh man, Ralph Ineson's in it. Come on, man. Ralph Ineson's from where I'm from. He's great, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, here let's look at the pipeline real quick. So Fantastic Four is a great example. So Pedro Pascal, Last of Us. I mean, it wasn't necessarily just a streaming show, but you know, it got a lot of traction off of you know, Max and whatnot. Vanessa Kirby, I believe that she was on The Crown as Princess Margaret. Where is it? Yeah, The Crown, Princess Margaret. Netflix. Joseph Quinn, I want to say... What's that? Forget it. Stranger Things. Yeah, Stranger Things. He was, what was it? Oh god. Eddie. Yeah. He was in a recent season of Stranger Things, Netflix. So 2 Netflix shows. Eben Moss-Bacharach, The Bear. He's the guy Nat Ritchie. He's great. Like, Eben Moss-Bacharach is a really good actor. I will give him that. And he's probably my favorite character in The Bear, for all its faults. But yeah, Hulu. Julia Garner, I do not know. But let's see. Ozark, Netflix. Oh yeah, she's the daughter in that. Natasha Lyonne, Russian Doll, Orange is the New Black, Poker Face, which is really good, by the way. You should check that out. Although that is on Peacock. Paul Walter Hauser. I recognize him. I think he was in I, Tonya. Yeah, he was. And an episode of I Think You Should Leave. Cobra Kai, another hit show. John Malkovich. John Malkovich is in this? What the fuck? John Malkovich is John Malkovich. And Ralph Ineson, I don't know if he was on any hit streaming shows or anything, but he did the voice of Sid in Final Fantasy 16, and he was the best part of that game. It was Lorath in Diablo 4. I don't know what he's done streaming wise. I'm sure he's done something, but yeah. He's very good. Ralph Ineson, he is a fellow Leeds native. Yeah, Leeds, West Yorkshire, where I'm from. And yeah, he's great. It is nice seeing someone from my neck of the woods get some traction, I won't lie. I just realized my camera was off. But yeah, there we go, that's the pipeline. Like, that's not the only show as well. There's so many different shows where it's just like, so many different movies and shows where it's just like, you know, oh, you're in this show. Like, the Netflix, Hulu, etc. have basically just become like a free casting session for Hollywood executives. Like, they don't even have to look around anymore or like audition people. It's just like, oh, you're on this show? Come aboard. Excuse me. I'm a wee bit dry. I mean, George Carlin was a senior, but his work is still relevant. Or Phyllis Diller or Betty White. Yeah, George Carlin was a great, all-time great. There will never be another George Carlin. And he was as sharp as a tack, even in his old age. Still the best comedian on the planet. Even like in his, 60s. I think he reached his 70s, I'm not sure. Time that could be spent honing in on developing your act. Yeah, exactly. Don't spend all that time whining about audiences not being good enough. Dio, aka Steve, hello, how's it going? Nice to have you here again. What you been up to? Sounds like a joke from the 60s or something. Yeah, it is. Like, and like I said, it's not even necessarily offensive joke. That's not to say that some people won't find that joke offensive, but it's a lame joke. Like, don't be upset when people don't laugh at your jokes as a comedian. It's a hazard of the job. And I say this as someone who used to do comedy. Like, you'll hit duds every now and then. Simple thing, you don't use it anymore, try something else. Or workshop the joke again, see if you can make it work better. Oh, she was in Mission Impossible too? Okay. Pedro shows were on HBO, not Netflix. Yeah, but like Max was really where a lot of like HBO produced shows really find their footing on Max these days as opposed to on HBO, since cable adoption is really tanking because, a lot of millennials and Gen Zs just don't have cable anymore, which is perfectly understandable since like cable is so damn expensive and being on traditional scheduled television just doesn't work for a lot of people anymore. In one way it's good since it gives us flexibility and choice. On the other hand, as I spoke about in, I think, the music video, it does encourage that sense of disposable culture because everything comes and goes so quickly. It doesn't make television an event anymore, like back when like Lost was a thing, like people would talk about that every single week. Before Game of Thrones became something, before, I guess now they still do like weekly stuff with that and people do talk about it, but that works to its strengths. Whereas if you get something like Netflix where they dump it all straight away, no one talks about it. Or they talk about it for a little bit and that's it. However, what Netflix are going to do more often now is they're going to do the split season run of TV shows. So they'll release half a season, let it hang for about a month, and then come back a month later with the second part because apparently they needed more time for production, which is bullshit. They just want to hang on to your subscription for as long as possible. But yeah, get used to that if you watch stuff on Netflix. Julia Garner was from Inventing Anna. Oh yeah, my wife watched that and sort of passively watched it too. You went to summer school in Leeds. Oh, which school did you go to? But yes, I'm from Leeds, and whenever Americans ask where I'm from, no one knows about Leeds. So it's a pretty big city. But like You know, say, whereabouts you from? Oh, I'm from a city called Leeds. Where's Leeds? Do you know Manchester? I do. Just north of there. It's about a 40-minute train ride. What's a train? Got a Chinese thin line telly today. Also got a new amp. The FedEx is screwing me. Haven't been delivered yet. What amp did you get? Is it a Squire thin line telly with the F hole in it? Is it the broadcaster humbucker pickups or the standard Telecaster pickups? Or a broadcaster in the neck and a Telecaster bridge? Would love to have seen you on stage doing stand-up. You know, funny thing is, when I did do stand-up, I never invited anyone that I know to my shows. And reason being was that I just felt way too nervous having someone in an audience who knows me. Because when you're on stage doing stand-up, you are basically playing a character. And I guess felt too insecure putting on that character in front of people who knew me very well. So like, I didn't tell my parents until like, so here's the funny thing, like my parents never knew that I did stand-up, and they never knew that like I did it as a job as well. And I didn't do extremely well off the back of it, like not at all. I earned enough money just to like get by really. But yeah, I never told my parents. It would be the case where like Saturday or Friday night I was saying that I was going to go hang out with a friend, where in reality I was traveling to different cities and doing shows there, and I'd usually like maybe stay overnight or just go back home. I didn't like hanging around. So yeah, I never told them, but I told my wife, and I told her parents, and yeah, when I was about to move to the country, when I was about to move to the US, I decided like I should probably tell my parents, because it's going to be really weird if they meet my in-laws and they start asking about me doing stand-up comedy. So like a couple days before I moved, I sat down with my mother and just like, hey, you know those times when I was like, said that I was going to go see a friend, and you know I'd be out pretty late and everything? She said, yeah. I was like, well, I was actually doing stand-up comedy during that time. I would go city to city. I didn't get big shows or anything like that, like, you know, nothing major. I'd just go to clubs. And yeah, that's what I did. It was pretty fun, but I've stopped doing it now. But yeah. And she thought, why didn't you tell me? I was like, because I didn't want you to come to my shows, that's why. And no offense, I just didn't want anyone to come to my shows that I knew. It's weird, especially since I'm like swearing, sometimes I'm like telling crass jokes, and it's just not how you want your parents to see you, I guess. Because even now, like, you know, my mother like doesn't like me swearing, for example, even though I'm a grown-ass man and everything. I'm British, so I basically have to swear. But yeah. Interesting moment, that you don't get many of them. I went to Leeds Beckett University. Ah, I know that. But not like a course or anything, just a fun session on British culture. And having lots of fun, actually. Yeah, Leeds is a pretty nice place. Like I said, it's not very well known, but it is a nice area. I'll send you a picture on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. Did it have to be the Discord? Dungeon Meshi was a weekly Netflix release. That was kind of nice. Yeah, it's better to have weeklies, I think. Like, in some cases, it's a little bit weird with certain shows. Like, my wife and I really like Only Murders in the Building on Hulu, but we decided that we'd wait till the season is over because they released that weekly, and then we'd just sit down and watch it at our own pace, because it is a show that is cliffhanger heavy, And we don't want to be at a point where it's just like, you know, oh, wait for a week and hopefully you remember everything. What did you do on stage, Pokrash? Did you do comedy as well? It's the one with the F-hole and all humbucker. I already had a strat with the single coils and it's a Black Star. Ooh, Black Star's really good. I love Black Star ramps. Which model is the Black Star? Let me see if I can tell. Yeah, that's a nice one. Interesting, it doesn't have the broadcaster pickups on it. The broadcaster pickups are the ones that have 3 screws at the top and then 3 screws at the bottom on the other side of the pickup. Is it a Squire or is it just like a... well actually, yeah, judging by the shape of the pick guard, it looks like a non-Squire one. I'm guessing. Guitar nerds. I am a guitar nerd indeed. And I'm proud of it. I can answer most questions about guitars, brands, etc. But hey, you know, used to be my job. Yeah, I used to really want a thin line 1972 reissue of the Telecaster thin line model, except without the F-hole. Let me look it up. Actually, it was Telecaster Deluxe. Yeah. Let me pull it up. Yeah, this was the one that I used to really want. See, that's the broadcaster pickups. There's Fender in the middle, 3 and 3 there. But yeah, it's a really nice model. I also like the really big headstocks that are on the 70s models of Fenders. Yeah, good guitar. In fact, I have a funny little story about that guitar. One time, there actually used to be a music store in Leeds called Music Ground, which I got my very first guitar from. And I went there occasionally just to like look around, try some stuff, and every now and then I'd buy some things from there. I think I bought like 2 guitars from there all in all. So I ended up going there one day, and it was a really nice music shop as well. They had this amazing vintage section upstairs, which, you know, had such nice guitars that they tell you to like leave your bag at the front so you don't hit anything. So I went in there one day and I tried out that Fender Deluxe Telecaster there. I think it was like £500 or something like that. But I was curious about buying it. So I asked to have a go of it. They got it down for me. I gave it a try. And I had played it for about probably 5 minutes tops. So I gave that a try. And then the guy that worked there, one of the guys that worked there, who was this guy that was like very high strung, came up to me, basically like, you know, walked up to me with intent. So like quite quickly, you know, I said like, how do you like it? And I was just there, sat there playing it, and I was like, yeah, it's really nice. And I was like, so, are you gonna get it? I'm like, well, I need a bit more time with it. I was like, well, you're running out of time. I didn't realize there was a timer. You know, every time I've been here before and tried something, you gave me more time. I was like, well, what can we do to get you out with it today? And I jokingly said, well, you can give it to me for free. And he just went, yeah, so what can we do? Like, how much would you want for it? And how much, you know, would you ask for it? And I just like, well, I'm here just to test it today. Like, I have no intent on buying it right now. And then he just pulls the fucking jack out of the amp. And he's like, okay, you're done with it then. I was like, And I was just stunned, and I just said to him like, wow, great salesman skill. I'm sure you do really well here. And he just said, I was just stunned. So I ended up like speaking to another member of staff as I was going out. And I said like, and I hated to call Karen, but I was like, do you have a manager around here by any chance I can speak to? It's like, cause that guy just treated me like an arsehole. And you know, I've been here plenty of times. Oh, he is the manager. Yeah. But it goes further. This isn't related to my thing with it, but this ends up becoming a bit more of a detailed picture. So quite a while back, this same store ended up shutting down completely, including like all the vintage gear, the main downstairs area with all the, you know, regular stuff. Yeah, the store just shut down completely, and it wasn't just because music stores are dying out, which they are, and that's a horrible thing. Like, there should be more independent music shops for musical instruments. Buying them online is not a good practice. So, yeah, a few years after that incident, and bear in mind as well, like, during that time, like, I was, like, I don't know, I think I was like 18, 19, something like that. So I guess he just saw me as like some fucking kid that wanted to try guitars out and not be serious about it. But anyway, a few years later, and ended up seeing an article saying that it had shut down. And you know, thought to myself at first, like, oh well, you know, it's just the way that the industry's going. No. It was something far more insidious than that. So I look at the article, and it turns out that they shut down because they lost a fraud lawsuit. So as I said, they sold vintage guitars there, and if you know anything about vintage guitars, some of them can become extraordinarily expensive. And they did have some real expensive stuff there, like some things in like the high 5 figures. So I read the article. It said there was a fraud, and it said that the store knowingly defrauded a customer who bought a vintage guitar from there. And I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was something like, I think it was like a 1964 Fender Stratocaster, and those guitars can get really expensive at that point. Like I think a 64, 65 Strat is something like 40 grand, something like that. Anything prior to 1960 can easily get in the 6 figures. But yeah, this was a 5-figure guitar for sure. And a lot of people bought guitars from this store because, you know, it was collector stuff. And it was a pretty wealthy collector who happened to buy this guitar. But it turned out that this was not a real 1964 Fender Stratocaster. It was about a 68 instead. Now, on the back of every guitar, I'll show you. Yeah, so on the back of every guitar, hopefully this will focus. Focus, you fuck. Alright, you'll just have to take my word for it. But on the back, there goes my tremolo arm. On the back of every guitar, there is a serial number, and what that serial number denotes is where it was manufactured, including the country, the factory, and the year that it was manufactured as well. And back then, they would do it in a very crude way, not using like screen printing or anything like that. They wouldn't do it by pen, but you know, they just do basic stuff. So it's very easy for these numbers to go missing. So someone in their wisdom at this store decided to change the serial number on this to make it look like it was younger. They made it into a 64 instead of a 67, 68, whatever it was. And the price between those models is significantly different. Like the 68 ended up costing, I think usually you can get them for like 12,000 or something like that. But the guy found out. He took it to an appraiser and found out that it wasn't a 64. So this guy took them to court, won a pretty big lawsuit against them. I think they ended up having to pay something like 300,000-400,000 as part of it. And yeah, that just destroyed the store basically, because some moron there figured that they could rip off a collector. Which, you know, of all the people you're gonna rip off, it shouldn't be people who know their shit about this stuff, who have a collection of vintage guitars. But yeah, that was the death of the store, because kind of dirtbags running that place, if we're honest. It sucks that it shut down because it was a nice store, but at the same time, when you have arseholes who are running those places, it's hard to feel bad for it. I just feel bad for the staff, you know, that end up losing their jobs. And I feel bad for the people who just want to buy instruments from people who know what they're talking about in person. I'm an aspiring comic and I performed on stage once. People liked it, cracked a lot of jokes on straight guys. That's good, yeah. Stand-up comedy is very difficult to do. I always said, like, for people who want to give it a go, just give it a shot. And if you feel like it's for you, go for it. If you feel like you might not be good at it, then don't bother. You know, it's perfectly fine to admit that something's not for you. Oh, the ID Core V3 amp. No, very nice. Half price, nice deal. Do you know Charlie Winston? He plays the guitar. I can't say I've heard the name. Broadcaster pickups. I didn't know what those were. Yeah, it was a model that originated from the 70s, I believe, and it was their first foray into the humbucker market. Albeit it was a lot more mellow compared to what Gibson and other manufacturers were offering. But yeah, they've got a small but loyal fan base. They also appeared on the Fender Starcaster guitar, which was their crack at trying to enter into the hollow body market in order to compete with Gibson and 335 thin line ES series of guitars. I'm sure this is super interesting. He had it out for you. Pretty much, yeah, like the guy was a dick. Like, I'll be honest, like when I spoke to that other guy and asked who the manager was, like there was a glint in his eye about like, that's our manager, we know he sucks. Summer come fraud, indeed. Like, you don't try and defraud people like that. It's scummy as hell. Especially when you're paying 5 figures for something. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I generally don't give a shit about wealthy people being ripped off for stuff, but, yeah. It's a bit of schadenfreude, I guess. The music store that just moved closer to me had a break-in, like, the first 2 weeks of opening. Someone run their car into the front entrance. My god. That's one hell of a break-in. Yeah, you'd be surprised at the stuff that gets stolen from musical instrument store. One time, and this sounds like a joke, but it's really not. But one time, the guitar store that I worked at was robbed by someone who was wearing a full burqa. You know, covers the eye, covers the face, just the eye showing. And this was part of a string of robberies as well. This wasn't just us getting hit. But someone came in wearing a burqa, you know, might not even be like a Muslim person, it's probably just some guy that happened to get a burqa. But they came into the store, slipped a guitar up their burqa, probably just held it in front of them, and then just walked the fuck out. And you know, it's really shitty because people in burqas don't have a good time anyway, because, you know, you got fucking cretinous xenophobes who, you know, say, oh, you shouldn't be dressed like that in England. But yeah, like, just amazing. I kind of admire it, to be honest with you. Because you can't exactly say to people who are wearing religious garb that come into a shop, you can't say to them, I'm sorry, you can't enter while wearing something like that. We need to see your face and what have you. You can't do that. So I guess they just exploited that loophole, really. Remember that guy who grabbed a 12-string guitar and walked out from my old store here? I remember that one. Is he the one that got chased down? Pulling this wire out was just evil. Yeah, that was a dick move there. Like, that's a move of aggression to do something like that. He's not the one who got chased down. He completely got away. Yeah, okay, yeah. Two different people. Yeah, my wife used to teach violin and viola lessons at this music store. And yeah, one guy just came in one day, grabbed a 12-string acoustic guitar, walked the fuck out. That was it. But then there was another occasion in which some guy came in, stole a guitar, a pretty expensive one, or at least it was expensive for them because this store was shit and they overcharged for everything. This guy came in, grabbed the guitar, ran out, and then the manager of the store, who was this pretty young guy, he bolted after him, chased him down, knocked him over, like tackled him, and it fucked up the guitar as he was doing so. And he managed to save it. I don't know if the guy got away or if he was arrested or anything, but yeah, he saved it. Which generally you're not supposed to do. Like, if you work at a business, if you work at like a retail place, if someone steals from you, once they leave the premises, you're not supposed to chase after them because you then become legally liable at that point if you cause damage to that person. So yeah, this business didn't get sued. And yeah, it could have been hurt. Like, it was kind of a dumb move, to be honest with you. A brave but dumb move, in my opinion. But how did the owners of this place reward him? Who were a bunch of Republican cheapskates. What was it? Was it like a meal or something that they gave him? I'm asking my wife here because I don't remember this bit. It wasn't a lot of compensation, let's put it that way. In India, there was a case where a woman hid a bunch of saris between her thighs while wearing a sari. Clever. $25 gift card to Outback Steakhouse or something like that, yeah. For potentially risking his life, because you never know, that guy could have had a fucking gun on him or something like that. Yeah, $25, so just enough to like cover a meal and a drink. But the real kicker for this though was not just that they retrieved the guitar, but bear in mind, like I said, these people sucked, the owners of this place. What did they do with the guitar? They put the still damaged guitar back on display for sale at a discount that brought the price, because they originally were overcharging for this guitar, the discounted price brought it down to the price which is the standard retail price for that guitar. I looked it up. I think it was like it was something like $400 retail for it. Like, if you go to Guitar Center or something like that, they were selling it for $400 despite being all fucked up by it being dropped while getting tackled. So yeah, thanks for the discount. People act a little funny around women who play guitar, no lie. Yeah, I think there's a weird, I don't want to say fetishism around it, but I don't know. I think like women who play musical instruments in general, like guys, can be like, you know, oh, she's cool because of that. Your life is worth $25 gift card, according to them, yeah. Because he doesn't own land, I guess. Like the Republican's gonna Republican. They gave me a $15 Starbucks gift card whenever I'd sell an expensive violin. Yeah, such generous people. My wife doesn't even like coffee, so she couldn't really spend it up much other than like an acai berry drink or something like that. I miss music store adventures. I do enjoy going to music stores still. I wouldn't mind going for a look around Guitar Center at some point. It is nice to do. Talk about dinner and a show, yeah, no kidding. The number one tip I've heard for shoplifting is to look bored. So yeah, if you're walking casually, you can walk out with something. And also, are you really that good energy? Yeah, I've heard through various sources that if you want to shoplift, just look confident. Don't look sketchy or anything like that. Just, look like you're just a regular shopper or something like that. Like, I think it was like during the Black Lives Matter protests and like people were like robbing some places, which, I don't give a shit if they're robbing places. Like, fine, who cares? It's businesses, they'll make up for it. But there were like people who were like sharing like shoplifting stuff just so if you need supplies, and they just posted videos on like TikTok of them just like, here's how you shoplift stuff and get away with it. And they were just there like with a backpack and they were just putting stuff in there. They weren't like looking around or anything like that. They were just like, yep, put it in and just walk the fuck out. No one paid attention to it. Just like every other thing in life, confidence pays off. Most recently I was practicing in front of my sort of granddad and I'm getting into She's Electric, one of my faves just to jam on, and he was like, stick with it, keep practicing. In other words, it doesn't sound good. Yeah, it's weird. But I find that any sort of field that is like, I guess, known for having like predominantly skilled males in it, women have to try harder to be recognized for their skill. Like, they have to be truly excellent at it to be recognized as being proficient, which is bullshit, of course. Because there's a lot of like amazing women guitarists out there, like for example, Michael Jackson's Beat It. Everyone says there's Van Halen that does the guitar in that. Not true. Van Halen did the riff for Beat It, do 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 do. But the guitar solo was performed by Jennifer Batten. She did the guitar solo every single tour that they went on, and she was the one that wrote it as well. So she was an exceptional guitarist. I think she's still alive. Yeah, when I was learning guitar, I got like no compliments from my parents. They didn't even say I sounded bad or anything, they just didn't ever comment on it. I do like getting compliments from my wife though from it, because she is my wife and my father-in-law, because they're both very talented musicians in my eyes, whereas I'm self-taught. I have that air of uncertainty about my skill when compared against people who are very well taught, very experienced, sound amazing in my opinion. And then I hear myself and I was thinking like, well, I'm nowhere close to these people, like they're really good at it, but they tell me I'm good, and it was like, it just doesn't stick. We should go visit my old store. I'm not sure about that. It's not the same people don't own it anymore, right? Glass ceiling, yeah, it is a glass ceiling effect when it comes to women in music, most definitely. Making similarly odd comments. Dude, okay, I'm a beginner, but I've been playing for 10 years. You can't even do this. Even though I did encourage that he could, just to make the weird commentary stop. Yeah, that's fair, yeah. Have you seen the siege on Bangladesh's leader's residence? People were recording themselves eating food and possibly committed animal cruelty. No, I've not heard of that one. I don't think they still own it, but some of the chill teachers are still there. Oh, that's good. Yeah, the teachers were pretty nice there. I was just about to talk about something, but I can't remember. Immediately left my mind. Damn it. Yeah, it just like immediately left my mind as soon as I wanted to bring it up. So, I got it. Okay, yeah. So another tale from a guitar store. So we would occasionally have people, so in the UK we do like work experience placements when people are in high school, usually when they're in their last year of high school, so I think when they're about 16. I did mine at a newspaper, which was very, very boring, but it's better than what they wanted me to do at first. They wanted me to work in a they wanted me to work at like a mechanics place, which was like, fuck no, I don't want to do that. But yeah, the guitar store I worked at, we did work placements, and you know, it was pretty much always teenage boys that they sent to do it, which, you know, no surprise there really, to be honest. But one time they sent this girl, oh, there goes my pick. They sent this girl to do a work experience thing, and she was like really into guitar and everything, so it was a good fit for her. And usually I would be the one that like gets them to know the ropes and everything, while my boss just left it in my hands. And you know, I would just like teach them about the systems. I'd teach them like, you know, how selling works, and you know, give them some education on like different, you know, elements of guitars, the parts, and everything that I felt that they needed to know. So I give them like sort of a crash course on the whole thing, and they'd be there for 2 weeks. So one time I was showing them like, you know, how we line up stock and everything for presentation for people, you know, how to make it look appealing. Now this store that I worked in was like a pretty damn small store, and we had a lot of guitars and a lot of amps there. We really packed it in. So when it came to reaching the guitars on like the top level, like, you know, they're all hung on the wall, and we'd have like 1, 2, 3 rows of guitars, and if you wanted to get to the top one, you had to get on a ladder for it. But sometimes I'd get lazy, and instead of getting on the ladder, I would just like stand on a large amp or something to get up there, and then just wipe it off afterwards. So I was just like showing this girl like, you know, how to do these things. So I ended up just like standing on top of this amp so I could get to the second row to pick up a guitar and, well, put a guitar back on the shelf or whatever. And as I was getting down, she was talking to me about something, I can't remember what, but as I was getting down, I ended up just like stepping off the amp onto another amp that was like right next to it, so it was sort of like steps in a way. So I stepped off this amp and then onto another amp, and as I stepped onto this smaller amp to get down, it just started tilting forward, and I managed to not fall, but it like unexpectedly spread my legs apart, and I pulled a muscle on the inside of my leg very close to my groin pretty damn badly. And what I really wanted to do was to like put pressure on my groinal area just to get the pain to go away, but immediately my brain was like, don't do that. There is a 16-year-old girl right in front of you, and it will not look good if you are doing something like that. So I was just stood there in pain and like pretend. She asked like if you're okay, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was just like stood there for a moment, like she knew that something was wrong, but God did it hurt. Like I really pulled a muscle, and like the only thing I could think of was just saying like, I was like, do you want to go on your break? Like it's close to lunchtime, you may as well go now, that's perfectly fine. Or so, are you sure? Like, you know, it's on like 10:50 or something like that. I said, no, it's fine. Just go for your break, it's fine, you know, take a little bit longer if you want to, we don't mind. It's quiet today. I was like, oh, okay. And then like she went out of the store. I was still just like holding on to this pain for as long as possible. And my boss was also on the other end as well, you know, just doing his general work. And as soon as she left, immediately I was like, oh. And he was like, are you alright? I was like, pull my fucking groin, no. I was like, well, why'd you send her on a break? I was like, because I don't want to grab my groin in front of her. Yeah. Luckily, it settled fairly quickly, but good God. Yeah, thank God she didn't have to see that. Don't want to get the police called on me for a groin injury. Alright, I think I'm gonna go have a small break, and just gonna make sure that my Spotify isn't playing copyright stuff again. Your injury is definitely more concerning, but at least you're decent. Yeah, you had to be careful with it. Like I said, I'm sure she would have understood. You know, she wasn't immature or anything like that, but yeah, I just felt like it wouldn't be the best luck to do something like that. She was a really nice kid, and you know, we got along very well, but I don't think we were quite there to be at the point where it's like, oh, this is a normal thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go take a quick break. What was the question of the day? Yeah, question of the day is, what is your favorite soda / soft drink? Leave your answers in the chat. I'll be back in about 5 minutes or so. And yeah, I'll see you in a moment. Beep. Alright, I'm back. And let's see, favorite soft drinks. I'm boycotting all of them. I have a few occasionally because PepsiCo owns fucking everything. You know, funnily enough, I heard... This is just a thing I heard on the internet, so it could be untrue. But it's something like, if you drank every single one of Coca-Cola's products and variations of them, like different flavors, if you had one a day, it would take you 10 years to consume them all. Like I said, I don't know if that's true, but Coca-Cola does have a lot out there. I like ginger ale with a little bit of 100% cranberry juice mixed into it. I can vouch for that, yeah. It does taste pretty nice. I'm not a big fan of ginger ale, but I'll drink it when it's there. And I have no other choices. Sparkling flavored water, it's cheaper than soda. It is. I think I mentioned it before, I don't like the LaCroix sounding, tasting stuff, but I do like the stuff that's got like more flavor in it. I actually don't drink carbonated beverages at all, oops. I didn't drink them for a long time either, because I had my gallstones, so yeah, I was on the flat stuff for a very long time. But if I had to choose cream or root beer soda, I do very much love both of those. Root beer, I've got a soft spot for because it's not really a thing in the UK. You could find some every now and then for pretty expensive prices, but it is nice having it readily available here. One of the few perks of living in America, I guess. But yeah, root beer is really nice. I prefer Diet A&W, that's the best one. Since that also doesn't have caffeine in as well, I try to avoid caffeine. Limca, it's by Paul and more syrupy than Sprite. Great balanced taste, either that or Sprite with a dash of lime. Never heard of Limca before, but I do love Sprite. Sprite is one of my favorites. Sprite goes really well with fast food, I will say that. Since I'm quitting alcohol, I've oddly moved on to Diet Coke, where I've never had a taste for it before. You know, funnily enough, I have heard that people who quit alcohol, apparently Diet Coke is a fairly common thing that they go towards. Apparently when you quit, you can really crave sugar, so I guess I'm trying to combat the intake with sweetener. Yeah, I guess that could be it. Just had some coffee, so no more drinks today. Yeah, if I... with tea, like I just drink English breakfast tea and occasionally peppermint. English breakfast has caffeine in it. I'll have 1 cup of tea in the morning and 1 cup of tea early in the afternoon, but after that, no caffeine. And it's a very small amount of caffeine as well in tea. But the sips aren't feeling like enough the way a regular Coke does. I don't know. I was pretty good about not drinking pop for many years. But in my case, one is better than the other. Well, yeah, absolutely. I do like regular Coke. I really like vanilla Coke. It's wonderful. But Coke, a cola, tends to give me acid reflux for some reason. I mean, it is very sugary, it's very heavily carbonated, but yeah, I've noticed it in recent years that if I drink a whole can of Coca-Cola, like, I'm almost guaranteed to get acid reflux, which sucks. My fave used to be Sprite, but I'm really not picky. These days I rarely drink soda and usually go for sparkling water. Yeah, it's good to be mindful of it. And generally I stick to diet. I prefer diet. Soft drinks with sugar in end up feeling a bit too heavy for me sometimes. Hello, immaterial boy. How's it going? Mine is ginger ale / Sprite. I've outgrown the more flavorful ones. Okay. You like combine them together? Soft drinks are truly quite varied. Indeed they are. There's so many out there. And in so many different countries too. They have their own. Like, I think Pakistan is a big fan of mango juice. There is a range of fruit beverages in the UK called Rubicon, and they have some amazing mango juice. Let me look it up. But they also have carbonated mango juice as well, which is fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, this right here. Rubicon mango juice. If you ever see this available in the store, whether it's the soda or the juice like this one, get it. It's wonderful. I miss not being able to get it here. But yeah, in Pakistan, that's really popular there. India and Pakistan both. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess that makes sense. In fact, I go to an Indian food store to pick up paratha since we have curry pretty much every week. And you can get like a big pack of like 30 there for like $7, which is an amazingly good price. And it's better paratha than you can get from like the Western food stores. But like every single time I go there and go to the checkout, I feel like I get sort of a weird look from the cashier, as sort of like, you know where you are, right? That sort of thing. But like, yeah, because like every single time, guaranteed, like I'm the only white guy that walks into that place. Like every single person there is from India, Pakistan, wherever. So I stand out like a sore thumb. It's fine though. They're super friendly with me though. They're not like, you know, we don't like your kind around these parts. Because suddenly all these Indian folk turn into cowboys. Plus they have British snacks there, which is nice. Root beer was my childhood one. I never had a root beer float before, and I've always wanted one. I've tried one of my wife's previously, but yeah, I never had a full one. I do like a cream soda float. Those are lovely. Let me look up this Limca. I might have heard of it. It doesn't ring any bells though. I think I've seen this actually. I mean, next time I go to that Indian market, I'll look it up. Yeah, I do like a good lemon and lime style drink. Like I said, I'm a sucker for Sprite. Salari on caffeine while doing a live stream needs to happen. I mean, technically, I have been doing it all along since, you know, I have English breakfast tea pretty much every single stream. Just not a lot. Yeah, because of, like, I deal with pretty bad anxiety, I try my best to avoid hefty amounts of caffeine. Like, I used to, like, drink coffee all day long. Especially when I used to work at that guitar store, because we were right near this coffee shop and it'd give us a really nice discount there. And yeah, after a bit, like, once my anxiety started like really ramping up, that was the point where my doctor recommended like you might want to drop it or at least limit your intake. And they were right, because yeah, I would have like a cup of coffee, at least like 1 cup every 2 hours or something like that. And I do it so I could like just be more alert, I guess. I'm not a big fan of coffee unless it's like sweetened and, you know, there's a cream or milk inside there or something like that. So yeah, I'm not a coffee connoisseur by any means. Weirdly enough, Coca-Cola in the UK made me burp so much, I thought I was possessed by a ghost. No, I wouldn't have expected it to be so carbonated. I think that the stuff in the US is more carbonated, and so many things in it have caffeine that absolutely doesn't require it. Like, caffeine has no taste in whatsoever. Like, the reason why they put caffeine in drinks is because it's to make you crave more of that drink. Like, that is purely it. Like, some people think that it's a flavor thing, and that they can detect it when they have like caffeine-free Coca-Cola, but they can't. It has no taste. I actually think about how you only have 1 cup of tea sometimes. I don't know how you do it. I think of when I'm trying to cut back on the caffeine and I sometimes, like you, do 1 sugar. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I only have 1 cup is just because when it comes to my tea, I like to let it brew. So when it comes to my break, I don't want to rush around making another cup, or just making up the one thing that I do. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could have a peppermint tea. Like that, you just pour in the hot water and let the bag sit in there. 1 spoon of sugar is generally enough. It is always interesting though when you hear about people who are quitting coffee and they act like it's quitting heroin or something like that. If you're a coffee drinker, like if you're a religious coffee drinker, easy way to get off it, and I speak from experience here, switch to decaf. Like, part of the addiction to it is having that dependence on the taste, the familiarity, etc. It's not necessarily, well, it is to the caffeine, but drinking something that tastes similar to it will help with the cessation from caffeine, because, you know, people love to say that decaf tastes different. It really doesn't. Like, it's the same coffee beans. The way that they get the caffeine out of coffee is just by superheating the beans. It's the same beans that you'll get in a regular coffee. I mean, you're half Iranian and Persia used to be our next door neighbors, so you're always welcome to our stores. I mean, maybe they can tell. It's a weird thing, like, sometimes, like, funnily enough, like, I will get, like, Middle Eastern people, or people from Asia, just, like, they'll look at me and recognize that, like, I am, like, half Middle Eastern Asian. Like, they'll just see the features and get it, whereas, like, most white people will look at me and not recognize it. Like, apparently, like, my nose has the profile for it, you know, quite straight down there with a little bump, which, you know, most people think I have, like, a little bump there. But yeah, like, people will recognize that. Sometimes they notice, like, you know, you can't see right now, but I have a bit of darkness under my eyes. I put powder on here before I come on stream. But yeah, some people from around the region will recognize that and ask, like, you know, part, what have you, and, you know, they'll get it right. But, you know, most white people will look and not know anything. It's interesting. In New Jersey, we have this brand called CNC. It might be like New Jersey's Rubicon. I've not heard of that before. Isn't Fago pretty big in New Jersey, or am I thinking of the wrong place? If you and Salari come to Canada, I will fix you up with poutine and float. I've always wanted to try poutine, I won't lie. I do love my gravy. I do love my fries. Cheese curds, though, I think I've only enjoyed cheese curds as part of a curry. Because, yeah, you can get, like, tikka masala with curds in it, and that's really nice. But, you know, I give it a try. In fact, my wife recently has been playing a game called Cook Serve Delicious, where it's like a sort of a rhythm game in a weird way, where you run a restaurant and you have to make all these, like, custom made dishes and everything. And one of the things that you can make is deluxe poutine, and it is some of the most grotesquely over the top dishes that I've ever seen. It's like fries with, like, hot dog slices, chili, gravy, eggs, a lobster, like, all of that on top of just some fries. It's like, what are you doing with your life to eat all this stuff? Yeah, and I don't know if that's a real thing. I'm sure, you know, people are trying to make poutine with all kinds of crap on top of it, but that's, yeah. And yeah, it is like a whole lobster as well. I'm sure it's a joke dish, you know. I used to like iced coffee as a child at Cafe Coffee Day. They give it with vanilla ice cream. I do like an iced coffee, yeah. Like, as much as I dislike Starbucks' coffees, I do like their frappuccinos. So on a rare occasion, I'll go there and have, you know, like a, what's it called, like a caramel crunch frappuccino, decaf still. But yeah, iced coffee's good. You don't give black coffee snob energy, which is great. Yeah, I can't fucking stand black coffee. It's disgusting in my eyes. I mean, if you like it, more power to you. But yeah, I can't stand coffee snobbery. You know, people are drinking, like, you know, getting some really fruity notes here. Like, where's the fruit? Come on. Same with, like, wine snobs, all that kind of stuff. It's all bullshit. Like, you know, wine snobbery, like vintage wine stuff and tasting, etc. It's all nonsense. Like, if you put like a $8 glass of wine in front of a wine connoisseur and told them that it's like, you know, ooh, this is a 1989 vintage, they believe that shit and they think like it's the best wine that they've ever tried. There's been numerous occasions where, like, people have tried to fool wine connoisseurs and sommeliers, etc., where they completely failed. So yeah, it's a bullshit thing. The only thing that's, like, more bullshit is the guy that ended up getting work as a water sommelier. Sorry, water sommelier. You need to try thumbs up with Calcutta style mutton biryani. You can thank me later. I gotta admit though, I really don't like mutton. Yeah, never been a fan of it. The only two meats that I really don't like are, well, I guess, well, I mean, it's part of the same thing, really. Yeah, it's like lamb that I don't like. Lamb and sheep. It's just way too fatty for my liking. I had a horrible experience with lamb at one point in my life, which I won't repeat because it really is fucking gross. And yeah, I don't think people would want to hear it. I know I've shared some weird and interesting stories, but this one is like, is an incident that put me off lamb for life. Even though I wasn't a big fan of it anyway, something happened when I cut open a lamb steak that my mother made me years ago. Something was in there that just like, never again. I sent you the wiki with the origin of deluxe poutine. Okay, let's see. Ah, that's from the Cook Serve Delicious page. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so this is from the wiki of Cook Serve Delicious. On October 14th, 1775, didn't expect it to start with that, British chef Putnam Cholmondeley, is that real? Tasted poutine for the first time thanks to the Quebec Act that passed previous year. Cholmondeley was so enchanted by the Quebecois dish that his personal diary, fucking hell, I can't read. Cholmondeley was so enchanted by the Quebecois dish that his personal diary, which until then he filled with recipe ideas, fond memories from his kitchen, and lewd drawings of anthropomorphized kitchen utensils, suddenly became completely dedicated to his unrequited passionate feelings towards the dish, including sonnets and more crude drawings. Finally, on March 14th, 1778, Cholmondeley had an apparent moment of clarity during which he wrote several pages lamenting his decisions to eat nothing but poutine for the past 29 months and to trade his left thumb for more gravy. Okay, well, this is fake. Followed by a dozen pages containing new recipes that he thought might be able to get him back on track. Unfortunately, despite having names like Knight's Knotted Noodles, each recipe was in fact a variation of poutine with additional toppings, and all subsequent pages reverted back to poutine poetry and smut. Upon his death in 1779, the recipes in his diary were released as deluxe poutine, which should be enjoyed cautiously. Okay. I feel like I should have figured out very early into that it was fake. Yeah, so ingredients that you can get in it. French fries, brown gravy, cheese curds, chili sauce, bacon mac and cheese. This all goes on top of the French fries. Sausage gravy, smoked meat, braised beef, chocolate sauce, chicken and peas, coleslaw, bacon, ham bits, hot dog slices, mushroom and peppers, pepperoni, and on top of it all, eggs, lobster, or avocado if you want to be healthy. It's also very hard to make in game as well. It's a lot of memorization. Boo, Demon Slayer. Anyway. I had to really get control of my coffee consumption. The grumpiness when I was out of the means for my certain way of making it. I was a slave. Thankfully, I've broken free. Well, that's good, yeah. And that's one thing that a lot of people need to do, because you get like people that just like get really dependent on like drinking coffee from coffee shops. Like, you know, they'll go out and buy like a $7 cup of coffee every single day, or you know, they'll get it like DoorDash to them or something like that. Like, don't do that. Just make your own coffee. Like, you can make really nice coffee at home. And, you know, I don't mean to be like one of those people that's saying like, you know, oh, you can't buy a house because you buy Starbucks all the time. But, you know, like $5, $6, $7 a day on coffee. Right. That's too much. That's what, $35 a week on coffee? 35 times 52 is math? Salted Food has a great video on poutine, sending it on Discord. Okay. Fago equals Georgia, CNC equals New Jersey. Okay. I wouldn't have thought Fago was, because the only other thing I know about Fago is that it's big among juggalos, to the point where Fago has even said that juggalos basically kept their business alive. I mean, hey, that bit might not have been real, but it won't lie, it got me curious about the lewd drawings of kitchen utensils. Dirty boy. It was almost convincing, it had me for a moment. As a former barista, I agree, it just seems like a pain to go out and get a milky, sugary coffee every single day. Yeah, because, you know, like, part of the inconvenience of it all is, like, sometimes you have to go out of your way to get it. And, you know, as nice as it can be to get out of your house or whatnot, just going all that way, depending on where you are and how far it is, just to use gas, get in your car. I mean, you might be able to walk if you're lucky, but get in your car, use gas, spend $5 or whatever every single day, way too much. It's like that meme of you could save money on cigarettes, and then someone replies with, "Where's your Ferrari then?" Yeah, like I do. That is like one of the most asinine arguments, really, and it really, like, the whole thing about like saying like, ooh, you can't buy a house or afford rent because you have a smartphone, and it's like everyone has a smartphone. You pretty much need a smartphone in this day and age. You know, and not everyone buys $1,000 iPhones or Samsung Galaxy phones. Like, most people will spend, like, I don't know, $300 on average on a phone or something like that. You know, not everyone has an iPhone. And sometimes even then, like, if they do have a nicer phone, it'll be because their phone carrier gave them one as part of some deal or some shit. But that's just like boomer mind rot kind of stuff where they think like you can pay for college with a part-time job, or you can afford a house by just having a job that requires a college degree. They live in a different world at this point. Especially when I need coffee/tea to get out the door. Yeah, that's kind of a catch-22 then. You need coffee to get out, but you want to go get coffee. What do? Make coffee at home. I will recreate these lewd kitchen utensils. Oh my god. Do it for science. I wait with bated breath. But what utensil are we talking about here? I'm trying to think of a utensil that might work with it. I don't know. I'll think on that one. I don't know. A potato masher, maybe? Because that's got like the hand motion, you know, like jacking off. Unrelated, but I just put chocolate swirl scones in the oven. Oof. Do love a good chocolate swirl. I never had a chocolate swirl scone, but I do love a good scone, especially the British style scones. British scone with some clotted cream on top, some jam. It's just a shame that clotted cream is really fucking expensive in the US, and you can't make it with. Because usually clotted cream you can make it really easily. You just put heavy cream inside of a baking dish. You leave it in the oven overnight, I think at like 100 Fahrenheit or something like that, 120. pretty low setting. You leave it in there for like 12 hours, and then suddenly the clotted cream, you just like scoop it off the top of the cream, and it's wonderful. But can't make it in the US because you require non-pasteurized cream, and all dairy in the US is pasteurized by law, so can't make it. I got back from vacation in a hot, sunny place. When I got back, I couldn't wait to use the oven again. Yeah, that's one thing, you know, I never thought about that. Yeah, if I was still living in the UK without AC, I wouldn't be able to bake much in the summer because it'd be too damn hot. That would suck. It'd probably be harder to make bread as well, because making bread isn't great in hot conditions. The usual things were available by the 1700s, right? I assume so, yeah. I mean, maybe it just had weird looking things, like they probably had egg beaters. I assume they had spatulas at that point, but yeah. We know that you can make a rolling pin look lewd. That is true. I managed to do so on the stream. Gave it a good stroke. Gave that wood a long, hard stroke. See, this is why I couldn't invite my parents to my stand-up. Everyone knows that baking is the most sexual of disciplines. Why? Who knows? Alright. I'm going to load up Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not going to play or make the stream about it. I just want to pick up some stuff that is on a timer. So, excuse me. We can keep talking as usual and everything. I'm not going to do anything too big. And I thought I was the risque one. I'm British. Like, being risque with every single comment possible is like something we have to do legally. We can make a double entendre, it's gonna come out. Even in a job interview, if you can make a double entendre, you go for it. You will get that job. And then when they say, congratulations, you've got the job, you say, oh, hopefully another kind of job as well. You know what? You get the job and you get a raise just for that. Hell yeah. And then you get cancelled by the woke mob. Okie doke. You know what, I don't need to put the game on screen, or do I? 1 second. Stand mixer, oh, that'll be an interesting one. The voice of Danny Phantom liked my pic on Instagram. Oh, very nice. What is the name of this person? Phantom. I need to do something real quick. Quiet game. Gotta restart it. Like I said, I'm not gonna make the stream about playing it. It's just gonna be on in the background while I mess around. I've got to leave my current job because I've shagged my boss, Bridget Jones' Diary. Yeah, I've never seen that movie, but I remember, I think it used to be pretty damn popular, didn't it? Isn't Renee Zellweger married to Jack White or something like that? David Kaufman, okay. I love the humor in it. I'm not sure about it. I've seen bits of Bridget Jones's Diary, but my humor can be a bit weird, to be honest with you. The humor that I like can be very different from the humor that I personally, I guess, offer. Like, it is quite weird, because like the humor that I like is either like very dry, which, you know, I am pretty dry with my humor, or very weird. Like, one of my favorite British comedies was a show that was from the late 90s, like early to mid 2000s, called Shooting Stars, and it was like a quiz show, where, I mean, I can't even describe it. It was just a weird quiz show. Like, it was a very British thing, and it wasn't like overly British, but it was just like the kind of humor that like British people would get, because like I've shown Americans clips from it and they just don't get it because they're looking for things to get in the show. I was like, there's nothing to get, it's just weird, you know? Oh yeah, in case, I know people probably here aren't too interested in my housing situation in this, but I added a nice vegetable garden along with a trellis and a couple of bushes here with what are those called? Can't remember. Hydrangeas, that's it. Yeah, I used to have like a fountain here, but it looked a bit out of place. Just sat there in the middle of it. I also got a new neighbor recently, this person over yonder. Oh yeah, and I set up this nice autumnal tree since 'tis the season. Same thing with foil arms and hog. They're waiting for the big punchline. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, let me check my stuff. Garbage. What games have you lot been playing recently? If any. Or what would you like to play? A grilled eel set. I think I already have one. No. Oh well, nothing that special. See, the foods that you can actually just put on the table for display. Like this here is like a hot pot set, and I put some dango on the side as well, and you can actually eat it too. Gives you buffs. They're an Irish comedy collective. You know, never heard about that one. This one joke from Doctor Who for some reason I remember, is when the 11th Doctor asks for a dude's laptop and said, "Blimey," and then looks at the dude and says, "Get a girlfriend, Jeff." That's pretty funny. I like that. One of my all-time favorite jokes was from the show Police Squad, which was what the Naked Gun movies originated from, with Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen had some of the most perfect comedic timing ever known. Just rock solid. Rest in peace. Very funny guy. But like, there was one joke that they made in the show where he goes into this guy's office. I'd show the clip, but it's YouTube, so I can't, unfortunately. He goes into this guy's office, and the guy sees him. He didn't know that it was there, but the guy turns around, and he just looks at him and says like, "Who are you? How did you get in here?" And Leslie Nielsen just goes, "I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith." Brilliant. Love it. And it was just, you know, his deadpan delivery as well. Just works so well. Oh yeah, I got this nice big cabinet here recently. Goes all the way to the sun. Lloyd Bridges and Leslie Nielsen. They are very good, yeah. And you know, I know he's had some stinkers, but I still think that Will Ferrell is a very funny person at times. He has a natural comedic air about him. Like I said, I know he's done some shitty movies, but I think he is a very funny guy. Oh yeah, so if you are interested in some of the changes I made to my house, and I know you are, I changed my study into a separate room area here, and I added this nice little artistic bay to it where you can actually change the picture if you want to. Oh yeah, I remember talking about this because we're talking about the two liquids together. Okay, never mind. But I added something special to the house in the basement. So if you come down here, whoa, look at this. It's a pretty small basement. There's just one door there. Oh well. Guess this is just where they store their shit. But whatever. Oh look, they got some books here. Let's go have a read. What? Secret door? And a bar inside? What the hell? Is this some kind of speakeasy? Delicious beer pouring on the floor? Hell yeah. And my fish tank. Secret door. Nice detail, right? Look in the basement. Looks basic. Whoop. Lloyd Bridges fighting Saddam Hussein in Hot Shots. Yes, Hot Shots was really funny. It's a shame they don't make those style of parody movies very often anymore, and it's a shame that that parody market ended up being overtaken by like the whole trend of scary movies and like what's the other one? It was like Not Another Teen Movie, Epic Movie, all that stuff, and it was this comedy writing duo that made most of them, and they were all absolute dog shit. Megamind is my second favorite DreamWorks movie. The first is Flush Away. Megamind is really good. Yeah, an overlooked animated comedy movie. Genuinely good. And yeah, Will Ferrell was very funny in that. Oh yeah, and I did harp to my music collection here. See if I can get the volume up a little bit so you can hear it. So now I have a harp, a violin, a harpsichord, electric guitar, and a marimba. My music room is coming together. And on the wall you'll see I have a picture of the legendary duo, and if you play the game, you'll know who they are. Will Ferrell has that new docu-movie out with his trans friend. Yeah, that's true. I saw the trailer to that just a couple of days ago. It looks quite good. I'll probably give that a watch. Because yeah, it's yeah, Harper is the name. Yeah, Will Ferrell is, yeah, I guess it's just like them on a road trip. But Will Ferrell, who has a lifelong friend who was assigned male at birth. Like Will Ferrell had known him for a very long time as male, and then in I think like their 60s they came out as a woman, and then they were going to transition. So this is sort of like, it's sort of like a Will Ferrell like learning about what it is to be trans and the experience that this person has had throughout their lives, not embracing how they actually feel. It looks very, very touching, I will say. And you know, it could be a really good insight into, it could be a really good insight for people, I think, who don't necessarily understand you know, what it is to be transgender. Like I'll admit, and I'm not trying to sell her out here, but my mother doesn't have a very good understanding on gender in general, like, you know, what it is to be transgender, why people feel that way, what non-binary is, etc. So I'm going to try and convince her to watch that. I'll check it out myself just to make sure that, you know, it's not just disappointing. But, you know, every little helps, you know. Megamind 2 Peak Fiction. Is there a Megamind 2? Let me see. Oh my god, there is. Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Is it still Will Ferrell? It's not even Will Ferrell as the voice. Keith Ferguson? Who the hell is that? And it has a 2.4 rating on IMDb. That's a great sign. It was released this year as well. Oh my god. No Will Ferrell, no Jonah Hill, no Tina Fey. Tisk tisk tisk. Someone's car alarm is going off. Okay. They made it into a TV show. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where it would have been perfectly fine if they just let it exist as a one-off movie and then move on from there. The Wayans brothers are such experts in comedy. I mean, they've done alright at some points. White Chicks is a comedic masterpiece, and of course I'm kidding. Your room is so period drama coded. Yeah, I guess I kind of see that. Especially with the fireplace in it. But yeah, I might rearrange some stuff around at some point. I mean, the whole goal with the house, I guess, was, and I mentioned this in the past stream, is that I just want it to feel lived in. Like it has a history to it. Not too clean, not too gimmicky, apart from the secret door. But yeah, I feel like I've achieved that quite well. Oh yeah, and I put a new bath in. I rearranged the bathroom. So instead of the standard 4-legged bath, I put this nice bath that has a little fountain in it, I guess. There we go. Oh yeah, and check out my little alpaca minion too. Adorable. Middle-aged British woman who doesn't understand gender. I'm shocked. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my mother isn't like terrible when it comes to, you know, understanding stuff and being open to understanding. Or at the very least, I've developed a knack for explaining stuff for her and having her actually internalize it. But yeah, at the same time, like, it's interesting because, like, my aunt is, like, you know, my aunt, horrible bigot, and yeah, like, we find it very difficult to tolerate these days. But my mother, like, she recognizes the extent of my aunt's bigotry and calls her out for it. But then, like, there are other elements of my mother's belief system that fall into bigotry as well. And, you know, one of those has been, like, you know, making not particularly great statements about gender. And, you know, I've tried to explain it to, and my nephew, like, you know, he's very involved in, like, progressive politics and stuff like that, and activism. He's tried to explain it. Difference is that because he's younger, he's not particularly good at trying to get these things across. It kind of falls back on, like, being a bit upset and such, which, you know, I can't blame him. You know, it's the folly of youth. But yeah, I try to communicate to her, like I try to put it out there in like a contextual thing, like, you know, when it comes like, say for example, gay people, the really simple but effective argument when it comes to gay people and saying like, oh, gay people, people choose to be gay. Like the simple rebuttal for that is like, why, given how dangerous it can be to live as a gay person or even a trans person or anyone from, you know, who's LGBTQIA, like, given the dangers that are associated with that, given the amount of discrimination that they face, if you had the choice of living that lifestyle, why would anyone choose it when they could choose to be far more secure when living as a straight person or a cis person? And, you know, simple arguments like that reach through to someone. Yeah, like, when did you choose to be straight? Like, I remember once I was speaking to someone who, like, you know, was, and this is someone I know in the UK, like, they were going on about, like, you know, how some people, like, choose to be trans. And, you know, I just tried to put it forward and was like, well, why would you choose that? And he was like, I don't get it. Like, how, he says, you know, it just went into all kinds of things that I'd care to not repeat. And the simple argument I put forward to him is like, okay, well, if you don't understand it, you can't really criticize someone for it because it's a very unique experience that only they can really understand. But let me put it to you this way. How do you know that you're a man? And he said, well, I just know. I was like, okay, what affirms that for you? What makes you feel comfortable in being a man? And so, like, well, I have a penis for one thing. I was like, okay, outside of having genitalia that is associated with being male, what makes you feel like you're a man? Like, is it clothing? Is it your hair? Is it your body? Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, are you okay with that matching how you feel about yourself? I said, yeah. I was like, okay, well, there are people out there who don't feel comfortable with it. They don't like their body because it doesn't match with how they feel about themselves. It doesn't adhere to their image. And then they can see, like, other people who it does match with them. Like, you know, they see women and, you know, they can get, you know, a signed male at birth person can see women and see that that's like what they want to be. So you know what you are, and they know what they are. Like, they know what they want. They know how they want to be seen by the world. And then he went on to tell me about how Elon Musk is great because he doesn't give a shit about what people think. I was like, okay. Plus, you know, that's a really good characteristic that you want in powerful people. Not giving a shit about what people think. It's kind of like when people talk about Donald Trump and say, you know, oh, I like Donald Trump because, you know, he says what he thinks and he doesn't worry what people say about it. Do you know who else says what they think? Says whatever they think and don't care about whatever people feel about it? Toddlers. Toddlers literally just say whatever comes to their mind, and doesn't matter what the consequences are. I'm a toddler. I can get away with it. Everyone thinks I'm adorable when I swear. Anyway. But if I did say anything so horrendously incorrect there in explaining identity and whatnot, please let me know. You know, as someone who also is not thoroughly informed on these things, because I can never truly be, since it isn't part of my experience as a human being, I'm always open to hearing from people. No one's perfect, but at least we can work on being better. No, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play the lottery. I was in a lift and the driver talked about the next great thing Elon was going to unveil, and my mom asked, but is that something he invented or bought into? He did not have an answer. That's one thing that really like bothers me about his whole image, that he's seen as an inventor. Like, you know, is there in his fucking lab like Iron Man, sketching up blueprints and everything and coming up with prototypes and all that kind of stuff. Like, you really pull the wool over people's eyes and making them think like, ooh, look at this genius inventor, he's coming up with all of these things that improve our lives. And it's like, name one thing that this man has made with his own hands. He made the Tesla. No, he didn't. Other people made Tesla. He bought a company that already made the Tesla. Ooh, jackpot. He bought the company, then stuck his stupid name on it. Okay. Close that for now. I'm all good. I'm so glad that image of him has been falling apart lately, but not for everyone, I guess. Yeah, it'll, you know, still stick around because he'll always have his stands, his defenders and whatnot who refuse to see the light, I guess. Same people that are buying the Cybertruck and whatnot, which, you know, if you're dropping that much money on a Cybertruck, that is truly, I don't know, to me, like, the Cybertruck is unequivocally an ugly vehicle. Like, most of the world can recognize that. But Musk has truly cast a spell on these people to make them think that it's a great looking vehicle. Like, I don't think it even appeals to, like, nostalgic 80s aesthetics or anything like that. Like, you know, you might look at it and be inclined to say, oh, it reminds me of a DeLorean, insofar as that it's got the same color scheme as it, but it isn't. It's an ugly, angular nightmare. But the fact that there are people out there that look at it and are like, you know, wow, it looks so good, like, that's astounding to me. Same every time I feel like people are actually finally understanding who it really is. I meet someone who doesn't get it. It's weird to think that there's still a lot of them out there. Sorry, moisturizing my nostrils, they're dry. In any case, I hated the whole Iron Man persona. I don't think it was charming. No, it sucks because Iron Man fucking sucks. But I'll give him this, at least, you know, at least Tony Stark had charisma. Elon Musk's brain is where charisma goes to die. Yeah, those trucks are a hazard. They're a horrible hazard. Cut your finger off if you get trapped in the door or the trunk. I saw one of those 2 different times and I was confounded. Yeah, my wife has seen one twice now, and, you know, she thinks that it's ugly as hell as well. I've yet to see one. The only thing I've seen of them is people taking pictures of them, like on social media, and commenting how ugly they think they are. And I remember one thing that I read was that they posted a picture of a Cybertruck that pulled up outside of the cafe, and as soon as it pulled up, this guy came in to order his coffee, and everyone there was talking about the Cybertruck, but like they were sort of talking about like how ugly it was, and they weren't like making fun of the guy. They were just like people just having their one-to-one conversations like, oh, it doesn't look very good. And apparently the guy overheard them because he ended up basically storming out of the place before he got his order. Don't make fun of my truck. I looked at a regular car and literally said, I hope these cars stay this way for years. Yeah, it's like, you ever seen an episode of The Simpsons where Homer designs his car and it's just this monstrosity? It kind of reminds me of that, because with that one, it was like, in that episode, like, basically the person he's designing a car for, which is his long lost brother, gives him carte blanche to design this model. And when the designers are talking to his estranged brother about it, his brother ends up, Homer's brother defends him and says, like, you do whatever he says. Like, this guy knows what the average American wants, and this car will, you know, do incredibly well, so just do what he says. And let me see if I can pull up an image of it. Yeah, like, this was the car. But it was just an example of what you get when no one steps in to say no. And that is the kind of thing that I envision happening with the Cybertruck. Like, Elon might have, like, asked someone to design it, gave him specifications, what he's looking for, drafted it up for them, and then at the end of the day, he loved it because it was something that he drew and not something, or he designed, and not something that a distressed car designer came up for him. And because it was something that he liked, he was like, this is it, this is the car, this is the truck that will do well, this is the design that people will love. And if anything, it's just, yeah, there he is with his design. What do you get when you're Simpsons, Homer, car, Cybertruck? Yeah, there we go. That's the comparison right there. Where's the image? Yep, same thing. And remember the smashed up windows? The Cybertruck just looks like it was drawn in MS Paint. It really does, like with the line tool. That's not real. Anyway, as they say, fools and their money are soon parted, and the Cybertruck is definitive proof of that. This Reddit post here I just saw. I fully believe, no, it's kind of like what I just said. I fully believe that the Cybertruck is the only car Musk actually designed. That's why it looks like a 5-year-old trying to draw a truck. There's the wheels. There's the truck. There's the window. There's the light. I used a ruler. And I used 2 coins to make the wheels. Very good, Elon. You can chop carrots with those doors. That's true, yeah. I saw the video where they were doing the tests and everything. And yeah, it sliced through those pretty thick carrots handily. Cybertruck is so divorced dad having a midlife crisis. Yeah, divorced dad who is like maybe early 40s, has a job working in IT. One kid that doesn't really like him. They've been very unsuccessful on Tinder. They're still into crypto mining. They brag to their friends about having an NFT even though the market has crashed. That NFT is probably why they got divorced, because she was like, you put a life savings into this bored monkey or bored ape thing. Why would you do that? And he's like, honey, it's an investment. I promise the market will turn around someday. And she's like, no, it won't. You're an idiot. Get out of here, you can't see the kids except on weekends. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll buy a Cybertruck so I can drive the kids around on the weekends, and all their friends will think they're super cool. Elon Musk has never steered me wrong. If I invest in one of these, my life will turn around. It did not. Are you also getting these bots commenting on your YouTube videos with a string of names? I'm not sure. I've not looked at my comments in a very long time. I usually look at comments shortly after my videos release, just so I can respond to some stuff and give some hearts. But after that, I don't really look too much. It's a mental health thing. But keep an eye out for those. Usually the spam filter on YouTube comments is pretty decent. You can set like the strength of it basically, but yeah, for catching spam it usually does a good job. This used to be me drawing cars. Yeah, me too. Like, how do I draw a truck? Oh yeah, and this was a moment that Musk had the other day. I'm not even going to say this out loud because YouTube might be weird, but yeah, check that out. He deleted this very shortly afterwards. Yeah, as you can understand, there's a reason why I can't read that out loud, because I don't want the YouTube bots to translate that or transcribe it. It's a very funny joke. Really good doing it. Truly a genius. And yeah, I don't want anyone to clip that, yeah. TV and Lust, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. What you been up to? Not a big stream watcher, but A+ videos. Oh, that's perfect, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. The videos do... Well, I'm actually working on another video right now talking about why we are so... why we seek out being angry, basically. Talking about, like, you know, how there is a culture of anger where we gravitate towards content that is designed to get a rise from us. Why, you know, like the news profits off it, why our discourse is largely driven towards drama and stuff that can potentially incite anger. What makes it alluring? Why it's one of those things where we are told throughout our entire lives to not do, not indulge in, yet when we're doing things like consuming media, it's the thing that many people go out of their way for. Because, you know, anger sells, drama sells. But what is it in our brains that makes us think, I need to see what's making everyone else angry right now? Especially on places like Twitter. Yeah, I've got the video recorded. I finished shooting it the other day, just got to go through the edit. Hopefully it won't take too long. Asterisk, since I always say that. But yeah, hopefully, if I were to put a day on it, hopefully by the end of next week. Because I actually have to do a sponsorship for this one. It's been the first time in a while that I've taken on a sponsorship. I hoped that by avoiding sponsors for a while, it would have encouraged to get people to sign up to my Patreon to offer support, but that did not work. So I have to take on a sponsor, since I will be visiting the UK soon, and YouTube won't cut it when it comes to revenue. Yeah, hate watching, all that. Hate watching, hate playing example. You know, as media examples go, two that stuck out in my mind was the Borderlands movie and the game Concord. Both performed miserably, but both in a run-up to the release of them had this culture of drama and in some ways, anger that preceded them, and that potentially cemented it in people's minds that they should automatically be failures. Now, with a movie like Borderlands, like, I think everyone can universally agree it wasn't a good movie, and you know, it had many reasons behind that. But with something like Concord, which is probably one of the biggest failures the games industry's ever seen, it was one of those things where people basically, you know, got out the popcorn to wait for the failure, and told themselves, I'm not going to play this because it's going to fail, and that caused like that domino effect of people just giving up on it before it even had a chance. But yeah, people anticipate and wait for, that's basically the same thing. People anticipate the failures of things, and they just want to see it when things go wrong. And these are just two very small examples. I get into a much broader range of things in the video, especially like, you know, using social media and whatnot. Social media is really bad for it. The worst, I would argue. What does that even mean? Is it a conspiracy theory? It's probably just being an idiot that's like trying to be funny. I mean, he says that it's funny, but you know, with people like him, their attempts at being funny often does carry a message behind it. Like, you could say that he's basically suggesting that someone tries to do the same with Kamala Harris. What's wrong with this guy? How long have you got? I could be here all day with that. But yeah, I'm glad that you're all looking forward to it. It should be a fun one. Not really. Because I also go into my own experiences dealing with audience anger as well. And it's a moment of catharsis. I don't know if I will include it yet, but it is something that's, you know, recorded and potentially ready to put in there. Because I will be opening an old wound by addressing it, and sadly there is risk to that. Are you doing actual research for that? Yes, of course, I do actual research for everything. And Emily in Paris getting a 5th season. I've only ever seen negative reviews. Yeah, there's that. You know, I just realized I forgot. I was going to talk about Velma being hate-watched and I completely forgot to include it. It's fine though. But yeah, like that Velma, like that's the kind of thing that always ends up, like both of those have been renewed entirely on the back of people hate-watching them. And then you get people who hate-watch them saying stuff like, how does this show keep getting renewed? It's because you watched it, that's why. People that make TV shows and stuff, they don't care really whether people are happy with the quality of it. They're just happy if it just gets numbers. Gaming community is not great right now. Absolutely, yeah, the gaming community is some of the worst for this kind of stuff. Like, they really do relish in the failures of stuff way too much. And like, you know, with the Concord stuff, is like, you know what? It is interesting to see how badly things can go with stuff like that. Like, you know, it's a horrible miscalculation, but to sit back and wait for the fireworks to, I guess, not go off, in a time where mass layoffs are still happening in the industry. Like, these are people who put years of their life into creating this product, and there you are, just like gleefully waiting for it to just crumble. Like, see someone's work just get flushed down the toilet. That fucking sucks. That's like Schadenfreude on a extraordinarily heightened level. I do think that some shows need a second season to thrive after the first, finding its footing, but not for 5 seasons. Yeah, that's true. I very much agree with that, because there's lots of shows out there that didn't that didn't, you know, strike gold as soon as they started it. You do need a second season sometimes. And for a lot of shows that has been applicable. Only thing is, in the streaming age, and things like Netflix not giving shows even like a week to flourish, it's so uncommon nowadays, sadly. I quit making videos about games, but also in general, because audiences, broadly speaking, because of the delight in failure and the bigotry. It's fine, I get it. Yeah, the bigotry stuff is... I think someone the other day, Dylan, ended up sending me a couple of screenshots from... I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a woke detector on Steam. It was this group with like 600 people in it. And it was doing reviews on games to see like how much wokeness they have in their games. It's so pathetic. And then you'll get like Steam reviews and everything like saying, "No, they censored this game because I can't look up the skirt of the anime girl. Whenever I try to, it just gets all dark. This is censorship." Acting like it's on the same level as like Chinese censorship of the internet. Like, come on. You want to experience true censorship? Try living in a place like North Korea or something. Crunchyroll disabled comments entirely because people kept complaining about woke anime. I can't blame them. Like, once that kind of stuff gets started in comment sections, it can lead to nowhere good. Like, it'll either just be these people overwhelmingly taking over it, or it'll be people getting into arguments with them because they'll be like, you know, what are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous. Like, this isn't woke, that's not woke, etc, etc. It just, yeah, right move there. Just disable it, get rid of it. Yeah, I also, like, earlier on today, like, I was watching, there was this YouTuber that I watched, and I actually unsubscribed from him earlier on today because they did say something that was genuinely gross. Like, they were talking about that new Star Wars Outlaws game, and at the end of it, like, it was talking about how Ubisoft has been pumping out pretty crappy games recently, or mediocre ones, which, you know, is fair. Like, Ubisoft haven't been great in recent years. And they really just chase trends, and there's a lack of polish. But yeah, with Star Wars Outlaws, like, he made a comment at the end saying that Ubisoft might get hit by layoffs, but honestly, he said, I hope they do, because in that case it might encourage them to make a better game that's more successful. And at that point, I'm like, nah, fuck this guy. Like, if you want to encourage layoffs, no, that's not okay. Like, hoping that people lose their job so you can have a better video game, fuck that, no. I rushed to that unsubscribe button. And, you know, maybe I'm a hypocrite there because I'm talking about people being angry at something. But what I argue in my video is, like, how people get angry over really asinine stuff like the woke culture stuff and everything. No, I can't tell them their shitty AI subtitles keep thinking that Bungo Stray Dogs is about Mr. Darcy. I didn't know they use AI subtitles. Ugh. But, you know, I guess it saves them from paying a translator. What's wild to me is that the nerds won. Nerd junk is popular now, but they still have a continued victim complex. There is truth to that, yeah. I mean, I think the way that we need to look at it, though, is like, this is sort of like a vocal minority kind of situation. And they have very few victories. You know, if you think back to, like, let's say Battlefield 5 when that came out, and it had the woman soldier on the cover with a prosthetic. The game didn't do very well, and they were like, you know, told you so. That's what happens when you put the woke shit in the games. And, you know, no, that's not the reason why it failed. It's because the market's saturated with shooters. It's because people just didn't want it. That's why it failed. Same thing with Concord. Like, people complained about that having pronouns in it. Like, or people just getting up saying, like, you know, it's a pronouns. Why does it have pronouns? All that kind of shit. And yeah, they said that that's why it's going to fail, because in their mind, the rest of the world thinks like they do, and that the people who care about this stuff are also in the minority, and that therefore by catering to the minority, which why a multi-billion-dollar game companies would want to cater to minority groups when you're trying to earn as much money as possible is beyond me. But they believe that the key to success is to throw out all the woke stuff, because woke stuff will ultimately cost people money. So with a game like Concord with its pronouns, they think that it failed because of something like that, which, you know, beyond untrue. Whatever supports your narrative, you know, that's just how these things work. Like, you know, if it supports your narrative, it's the truth. Or at least if you can align your narrative in any kind of way with something. True, but they're still disproportionately loud and aggressive. That's true, and you know, like they say, the squeakiest wheel gets the oil, and some companies do capitulate to these people. And, you know, more to the point, they add a great deal of distress to the people in the industry, because these can be like the kind of people that go way too far in vocalizing their distaste towards their so-called treatment. You know, they'll see themselves as the marginalized groups in situations like that. It's like, you know, we're the ones that are being oppressed. I'm talking about the English subtitles on the English dub. Oh, okay. They're the same crappy auto-transcribe stuff like on YouTube that just gets worse over time. Which is an interesting choice, given how many proper nouns there are in, you know, anime genres and stuff. And what do they do for Japanese names? Like, I can't imagine that'll work out very well. Oh boy, I'm out of drink. I think there's something to be said for negative reviews being memorable. It's kind of like the, you know, criticism, like how that works. Like, and anyone who's a creative will know that, like, if you work in a field where you are subject to criticism, you can receive glowing praise from 100 people, but the one person that says something negative about your work is the one that will always stick out the most. Like, they stick out like a sore thumb. And all of that negative praise just suddenly disappears as you focus on this one thing, because it's just like, well, why don't you like it? Like, if you don't like it, if everyone doesn't like it, or if everyone isn't in agreement that it's good, then it means there's something bad. Therefore, the bad thing is the thing that needs to be addressed the most. But with the stuff like, you know, the, you know, anti-woke stuff, like all that kind of stuff, like, I think stuff like that, even though it might give publishers pause for thought and think like, you know, oh, maybe we should put more big titty women inside our games. The people that make these games themselves, like, the reason why they include that stuff is because a lot of people who work in the industry do care about inclusivity. They do care about representation. Like, that's just how creatives work. Like, creatives are more inclined to be like that because they are in more diverse groups and everything. You know, the video game industry in particular is overwhelmingly white and male, but, you know, still, you have a lot of people out there that want to be more inclusive, and it's not always a hollow attempt at trying to appeal to people or anything like that. It's not like Disney stuff, you know, where they are making a pretty opaque effort to take old properties and, you know, try and like do things like race swapping and stuff like that because they want pats on the back from people who are, you know, like, wow, Disney included its first gay character in a Star Wars movie for the 5th time. Disney included their first gay couple in a Pixar movie. Right there, blurry in the background. Easily removed for the Chinese cinema version. That's true, by the way, that happened. Plenty of people just sit back and enjoy any given video game regardless of social justice, wokeness, but we don't think about them as much. That's true, yeah, because that's just like the whole thing of living in a bubble. If you are someone that is terminally online and spending that time with people who also get upset about wokeness, it's easy to think that you represent the entire consumer base of a product because you all share the same thought. Where in reality, and I've said this before in a video, the average person who's doing things like buying video games are people that just like come home from work on a Friday night, they're bored, they think to themselves, oh, you know what, I might buy a new game. Go to maybe a Best Buy or look around on a digital storefront, see what looks good, and if it looks good, they'll drop some money for it, and then they'll just play. They won't be the kind of people who comb through every single inch of the wiki of a game to see if it's got any kind of wokeness or DEI stuff or anything like that. They're just people that want to play a fucking game and they're just like, yeah, okay, this looks good, I'll play it. Do it. I had fun. And then not put it down. You're not getting people who's like, oh, what's that? A gay man? And they're kissing another gay man? Fuck this game. And then just going back to demand a refund from the poor person that's working at customer service of Best Buy. It just doesn't work like that. But they think it does. Then you look at the production of Inside Out 2 and what happened there? I've not heard about this. Was it a crunch happening there or something? Not that that's uncommon within the VFX industry, but you know. Ugh. My nose. Fucking pronouns! That guy's gonna have an aneurysm Sunday if he keeps on like that. Oh, I didn't realize that was the time. I'm gonna have to wrap up soon. Needs to eat. That's cracked me every time you said it. It cracks me whenever I hear it, to be honest. Just seeing this silly, sad, bold British man getting super angry over pronouns in the games. Like, whenever I see... I mean, obviously a lot of that is probably him just putting on a show for his viewers who get equally outraged about it. My guess would be that way. But... yeah, at the same time, it's like, if you are genuinely that angry, like, if that's the stuff that is, like, a priority to you, like, if that's the thing that you want to base your life around, like, getting angry at a video game having pronouns in it, you must have had a really cushy life if that's the thing that gets that much of a rise out of you. There's so many horrible things going on in the world that you could direct your anger towards. But there you are on the internet, blowing a gasket over he, him, she, her, they, them being in a video game. Like, this is what warrants your energy and your anger. Like, come on, man. Gotta start making dinner. Salari, you're a real one. Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for stopping by, TV and Lust. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy your dinner. Hope it's a good one. Feel free to stop by again if you ever want a chance, if you ever want to try out the live stream. Oh, Curie is appearing on my lap right now. You want to come on? Come on. Come on. I need engagement. Come on. There we go. Let's say hi to Curie before we part ways. Hello, Curie. Hello. You want to purr into the microphone? And hopefully the chat won't just stop working all of a sudden. Purr. Can you hear it? Maybe not. Because I have noise suppression on. And the music's on. Let me pause the music. There's your ASMR. What? Huh? Yeah, she does have a slight cackle when she purrs. It's adorable. Stream went surprisingly well for being half the bitrate as usual. Yeah, it did. I'm surprised myself. It has hit the proper bitrate at times, but yeah, it's been around the same level the whole stream. But as long as it went fine, I can live with it. Head boop. Boop. Let's see. Let's try and do an outro with Curie here then. Cue the music. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and Curie would like to thank you as well. Like I said, I'll be working on I am working on the next video, and hopefully it should be up by next week at some point. Thank you for being here. It's always fun talking with you, and any of you newbies here as well. Thank you for also showing up. Always like talking to new people. In the meantime, hope you enjoy the rest of your week and whatever's left of your day. Keep calm. Try not to be angry at things, because life's too short to waste being angry on little things. Unless it's at James Corden, in which case your anger is completely warranted. But anyway, thank you very much from me. Thank you very much from Curie. And I will see you next time. See you in the Discord if you're around. And take care. Bye. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Curie. Baby. That's her voice. See you later.